I had easily gotten sucked into some things I'd seen on the internet.
During an interview with Howard Kurtz on Fox News Sunday, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene admitted to being a sucker. So I'm going to get to this clip and what it tells us. There's also a second clip from this interview that I want to share, showcasing how she has not changed. But first here, let's get to this clip. This is again with Howard Kurtz on Fox News, where they're discussing her support for McCarthy, and Howard Kurtz brings up something from her past that she now feels a little differently about.
I have no promise. I have no deal. I only fully supported, I've said this all along, the agenda that's laid out there. It's even on Kevin McCarthy's website, what we can accomplish in the Republican conference. And the reason why I told that to Robert Draper is because I have the support of the base, and I keep telling everyone here in Washington, this is what the American people want. And it was easy for me to get on board with this agenda because I'd see the conference come around the same things.
Yeah.
And
well, just to deal with one bit of history, the Democrats stripped you of your committee assignments after you were elected. That was raw politics. But in fairness, didn't you also say around that period that you had been a follower of QAnon conspiracy theories and you had rethought this and you were no longer influenced by the group?
Well, like a lot of people today, I had easily gotten sucked into some things I'd seen on the internet, but that was dealt with quickly early on. I never campaigned on those things. That was not something I believed in. That's not what I ran for Congress on. So those are so far in the past.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to get to another clip, and I'm also going to show you how the base is reacting to her right now following all of her support for Kevin McCarthy during that fight for Speaker. But here she says very clearly, quote, "I easily got sucked in to something I saw on the internet." Easily sucked in. She is admitting to being a moron. How can she even justify her presence in Congress when she can be so easily sucked in to the dumbest shit on the internet? So this was well documented leading up to her run. So back in 2020 here from Washington Post, Georgia Republican and QAnon believer, favorite to win U.S. House seat. She has a history of believing this trash, including things like she blamed wildfires on a secret Jewish space laser. And there's a lot more. There's stuff here that she believes that I'm afraid to even discuss on YouTube because YouTube is recently being very happy to demonetize my videos based on the content I'm covering. But you can look it up. It's well documented. The stuff she posted and shared on Facebook, the crap she believed. Another example, she proposed executing Pelosi for treason. And now she's claiming, oh, I'm very different. Is she? We will look at that right now. So this is from The Nation. Records turned over by former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to congressional investigators revealed that on January 17th, 2021, just 3 days before the end of Trump's term, Greene texted a message to Meadows that read, quote, "In our private chat with only with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic is for Trump to call for martial law." It's martial law, not martial, but Greene points, or her point still came across as her message also declared with regard to Biden and the Democrats. She wrote, "They stole this election. We all know they will destroy our country next." So it's important the reason I'm sharing the text messages here, these private conversations, is because this is not just a play for votes publicly. So like she was also saying this stuff publicly, but the fact that she was also saying it privately and wanted Trump to do something about it showcases that she is a true believer in this bullshit. And the next clip I'm going to get to also is around this issue as well from this interview, again showing that she hasn't changed. But she's now being slammed by her base, by the far right, including InfoWars viewers who have called her a fraud. So here's an example. This is during one of their recent shows. And again, this is around her support for McCarthy. So her base now thinks because she supports Kevin McCarthy, she's a real sellout, a fraud. So Here's that here.
Hey, I pay taxes, so I got a message from Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has a great voting record, but guess what? It doesn't matter when she knows that the policies aren't going to get through. Okay? So here's the only vote that counts, and that is she needs to change her vote today or she's a fraud. Okay? And she doesn't deserve to come on InfoWars if she doesn't change her vote today, because she's a fraud. Have a great day. I got to go back to work. Thank you.
So the host actually goes on to disagree with the caller, but Taylor Greene apparently skipped the scheduled appearance on InfoWars after several callers repeated this. So someone else came on after as well. Another caller implied blackmail was impacting Marjorie Taylor Greene's recent behavior. Here's that clip.
Something happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Look, I don't care about her personal life, but she's got to own whatever it is so they can't hold it over her head. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Thanks for the call.
Oh, man. And there's also, let me first show you this. Mike Lindell, Mike Pillow, throws Marjorie Taylor Greene all the way under MAGA bus over speaker vote. Quote, "Oh, I let it slip out." So Mike Pillow, also not very happy with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And there's also others that have, there's another individual on the extreme far right who is claiming they have some secret recording of Marjorie Taylor Greene in the green room when she was going to be on one of their shows. That's going to, expose her, really hurt her. Maybe they do, but it's showcasing that they are turning against her because of her support for McCarthy, which, yeah, at least in the case of Mike Lindell here, this is the guy that claimed that Trump is going to be declared president tomorrow, next week, in a month, 3 months, 6 months. he kept pushing the date, still waiting. But of course, big Trump supporter. Trump urged Republicans to back McCarthy. So look, not to defend Marjorie Taylor Greene here, but if you're going to slam Greene over this, why aren't you turning around and completely, disavowing Donald Trump at this point? There's no consistency, of course. To look for consistency in conservative, in the far right media is just to be foolish. But let me get to the last clip here. So this is around the election. Listen very carefully to how she answers this question.
The same people that conservatives were holding up in high esteem don't necessarily have those voting records, while they're at the same time criticizing Kevin McCarthy, who does. Right. Kevin McCarthy did object on January 6th, and he's been a top target of the Democrats and the January 6th committee. So do you believe that Joe Biden is a legitimately elected president? Of course Joe Biden's the president. That's always a silly question. Okay, I wasn't trying to be silly. I was trying to just clarify.
Look at how she got around the question there. And of course, Howard Kurtz either doesn't catch it or purposely ignores her non-answer. Saying that Joe Biden, of course Joe Biden is the president, is not saying that he was legitimately elected. You're just saying that, yeah, he was sworn in. We all saw it. He was sworn in. But you are purposely ignoring the question because you want to continue that support from your base. Or, again, you truly believe these election lies. And in the case of the emails or the text messages that we saw to Mark Meadows that were, again, private, I think she actually believes this bullshit. She actually believes that, no, Joe Biden is not legitimately elected, but she also feels that she can't now say that publicly because of how that looks and the criticism that she will get, especially, I shouldn't say especially, but maybe in this interview, if she rejected it, the pushback that she may have got there from Howard Kurtz. But it all just goes to show that, if you are this stupid, even if by your own words, by your own account, oh, it was a couple years ago I believed this stuff, QAnon, oh, I easily fell into this. How can you defend being in Congress if you fall into this garbage so easily? And of course, it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. There are, I'm sure, many true believers in Congress. And I should also point out, whether you are a true believer or not in Congress doesn't necessarily matter as much as what you do with your power. So even those like Kevin McCarthy, who, of course, Kevin McCarthy knows that Biden won the election legitimately, but he pushed those election lies. What matters is that he pushed those lies, that he used his platform to spread that trash, that continue perpetuating this idea that Biden was not legitimately elected. So even though he personally may believe differently, that doesn't matter. When you are someone in a position of power, whether you're in media, whether you're in politics, in government, what matters is how you use your power.